swing of things, and speaking into the swing of things, is Week 8 Tugboat, which means every single map matters. Every single moment is the most important it could ever be in the season, and especially in this game tonight between Selah and Sedro-Wooley. Playing for second place here. This is extra important when you look at the bigger picture of coming into playoffs.
Yeah, just massive implications here when you're talking about that postseason. We're going to be hopping into this competition here in just a second. Looks like Nepal is going to be our control map. Start this one off. I want to talk, of course, about one of the organizations that does make competitions just like this one possible. That is, of course, Seattle built PCs. That is ultimate performance, one-of-a-kind aesthetics, while still retaining that small business value. Folks, again, I think it was week 5 or something like that we did confirm anywhere in the lower 48, anywhere in Canada, Seattle built PCs will be your resource for some of that high-end esports hardware. If you want to build your own, if you just want to buy individual parts, you want to have them build it all the way through. If you're like me, you get anxious about working on these, $3,000 machines and stuff like that, you don't want to mess something up, Seattle built PCs can help you out.
Yeah, you want to trust those professionals, especially those local professionals that are talented, but not only talented, but also have their heart into what they do. Just like these teams, Sedro-Wooley and Selah, we got the Cubs and the Vikings pairing off against each other here. And like we said, heart is going to be a lot of this matter here because Selah is 4-1 here. So they are in a pretty good spot. Sedro-Wooley is 3-1 with a makeup game. So we're essentially looking at almost an even matchup here, and it's gonna start looking, so winner gonna punch their ticket in with a guaranteed spot. Loser here probably going to likely have to play into 4th place for a wild card spot. And you don't want to have to play in and worry about that when you're getting to the end of the season like this. You want to make sure you are in your peak form and you are just ready and rested going into these playoffs.
Yeah, so take the different amount of games that these two teams have played, or the different amount of matches, that these two teams have played, throw that out the window, because the implication is the same.
Yep.
Both of these teams need to win this match to go forth and have any shot for one of these teams, or a guarantee for the other team to go forth and have that playoff position purchased. For Sedro-Wooley, of course, they're 3-1. They have to win this game as well as the game tonight to end out at 5-1. Selah, of course, Vikings have to just continue to sail on right here, 5-1. You dropped 1 during the regular season. That's okay. You'll still have that taken by an undefeated team as well. So neither of these two teams, of course, we're going to be able to we're going to be able to improve to a perfect even 1,000 batting record. Selah, not Selah. Selah. Got it. Selah. Excuse me about that.
Selah,
excuse me. I'll go ahead and write that one down. I know it's
Sedro-Wooley. We do respect it. Yeah,
absolutely.
You got it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're much love and respect for the Washington area, especially when you look at all these talented youngsters coming in. And speaking of these talented youngsters, looking at these initial comps, very, very fascinating. How in the Reinhardt? Okay, we're just waiting for. Okay, there we go. I was like, how did the Reinhardt get out there and do that?
Funny names on the broadcast here today, it seems.
Yeah, we got some interesting names. We also got a couple names we've seen in the previous in Sedro-Wooley. So we've got Baba, we've got Bioexecution, who we know in our last game. If you've been watching week to week, Bioexecution is a key player for this team. If he gets going, if he gets in a position where the team enables him to just click those heads, this game may as well be over. Across from them, though, I'm going to be watching for Sane, because Sane is going to have to take the contest in that hit scan matchup. These pieces, it tells me that, on the Doomfist tells me they're going to this, and they are going to be playing a very tank-heavy, tank kind of controlling match. So that matchup of the tanks versus Baba is also going to be important. Playing into this Junker the Junker Queen is going to be a difficult matchup for the Doomfist. It'll really come down to those individual tank skills here.
Yeah, 100% agree. We've seen a little bit more of Sedro-Wooley on the right side here. I believe that over there was Selah, but now back to the middle. This is a super aggressive composition with Baba there at the front. More MT trying to get involved right here, and now it's just pull all the way back. Sedro-Wooley right here. Why go forth anymore? This point is opening up in 3 seconds, and this will be theirs for the time being.
Oh, and especially considering a player already sitting on just a hard counter for the Doomfist, you kind of now have to look back and say, all right, can we stay on this? There's a lot of things we don't like to see, and the answer for time is going to be no. Time's up. We'll pick up the Ramatra as the as the picks come in for Sedro-Wooley, yeah, we're going to have to swap this all out. This kind of dive comp from the side of Selah just wasn't enough. And thankfully it was one fight. You didn't lose a lot of your ult charge, so you just have to play from behind with only 20 behind here. And thankfully you didn't feed for Sedro-Wooley. They're sitting at about 50%, so still pretty neutral fight here. Just going to depend on the first pick.
Yeah, and with the Ramatra here, this might be a little bit easier than their previous push was. Time just trying to find a way in edgewise. Here comes the projected barrier, and everybody on Sedro-Wooley just simply backs up yet again. AoE damage kind of projected right there. This is a very courageous... yeah, this is a very courageous push there from Baba, but 8-bit nicely done. That's 1, 2, 3, and Sedro-Wooley has purchased this team fight with a single ultimate.
Yeah, I addressed this the last time we saw Sedro-Wooley here, but this double speed comp where the Junker Queen and the Lucio both have the ability to move the team around is so valuable when you look at, time kind of taking a step forward, maybe getting a little too far, or watching for Johnny Yakuza to come in and maybe play a bit of an off angle. Thankfully, they do have 4 ultimates to kind of get this up at 70%. If they stagger these ults, this could be our last fight here, Tugboat.
Yeah, we're looking at 75 right here. That is the win condition for this Sedro-Wooley squad as of right now. Here's the Kitsune rush. There's a lot more. There's a purple as well, but when you have a sound barrier in the back pocket, Junker Queen right here as well, looking for some damage in edgewise. That's Johnny Yakuza falling first right here. Now just put a little bit of attention onto Ragu and the rest. Selah is dropping one by one. Sedro-Wooley has purchased this first map.
Yeah, you still have 2 ultimates too, so I respect that level of just being able to know you have your resources and not overcommit. You're going to need them for this last fight, especially with Blade and Visor coming up in addition to Annihilation. You have to clean this quick if you are Sedro-Wooley.
Yeah, Velcon taken out right there. I believe a decent bit of ult tracking there for Sedro-Wooley, knowing that player was rather close. Now, just take the frog off the wall. That should be enough right here. Excuse me, the Soldier 76 is there, but this is a couple players on like 5.
Nano Visor? Nope.
There you go.
Yeah. That's just what happens when you snowball like this in this mode, right? It's there. There's the blade. It's very late, but unfortunately, the snowballiness of this mode can lead to that. And when you have 4 ultimates up, this is the thing with getting out of fights and retaking them quickly, quickly regrouping, really moving efficiently onto the point, and just kind of making sure that you can move as a full unit is going to be so important, especially with this comp from Sedro-Wooley. Like, there is such a dangerous comp here. Honestly, 8-bit going to the May. This is that's weird because this is the place you want Junker at. He can just sit in the back and just kind of lob in bombs. You have so many angles. This is an interesting taste, but I do respect both teams' desire to create the isolations with the May, and moving time over to the Sigma allows you to play a little bit slower. So really going to try to punish this aggressive Junker Queen and May comp. They're just going to have again, it's going to come down to playing as a unit to make sure you capitalize on these isolations from both sides.
100% agreed. Love the 8-bit player pick. That's going to be Sane taken out early here with a whole conglomerate of players getting some damage in on that. Baba having their way right now with a couple of Selah players. And this is maybe some stagger here. Yeah, the Lucio tries to stay there. Johnny Yakuza can't get out of this one. And it looks like Sedro-Wooley is going to pretty handedly take this first point. Velcon already using the ice block right there. Yeah, now they have taken, so this is definitely a backup situation for Selah.
Oh, yeah. The second the first pick or 2 came down, I think if you're Selah, you should have just, okay, we're not getting this point. Either everybody die quickly on point or reset because you don't want to waste this time. The sooner you can get a full 5 and aggress onto this point is the better, especially when Velcon is 60% to a Blizzard. They're leading versus 8-bit players, so if you can get Velcon the damage and ult, but also keep Ragu up, you can turn this fight and win it quickly.
Ooh, good immortality field right there, 100% necessary. This is Sedro-Wooley biting off a little bit more than they can chew over on this side, getting unnecessarily aggressive. Nice wall right here, and this Sigma is getting swarmed. Nice eat. That's going to be enough. Gets down to literally 1 and gets ultimate at the very last bit right there for Selah. But a nice chase down, and Selah does take this while the fight is kind of coming off of point a little bit.
Anything to kind of buy out the time? Yeah, I guess. I mean, the plus side is that you did force out Rampage, so it's... All right, Johnny Yakuza, you're playing a little... that's a little too dangerous. You should have... Yeah, you should have gotten out of there a while ago because now you've just given up so much time and you're going to get punished for that. especially now that, yeah, you got Sound Barrier, you have 3 ultimates up, but you're coming up to the halfway point, and you just threw off the timing here. So now it's up to Sedro-Wooley to capitalize on that.
Well, this is such a weird ultimate combination. All 4 of them being dropped by Selah, excuse me, all at the same time. Wall gets nothing. Only 1 kill with the Sigma ultimate as well. They're going to be on top, but still, you got to wait for Bio Execution. They've been able to find some fantastic shots thus far. Selah is going to take some more percentage points, and Sedro-Wooley will back up. But coming back, they got, what? TNA Rush, they got Blizzard.
Yeah.
Overclock.
Yeah, that was that was a bit, that was a bit of an overinvestment, Tugboat. You committed all 4, like you said, all almost on top of each other. You would have really rather to see them staggered out a little bit because you have no defensive here. This is just, Kitsune Rush, everybody's shooting. You have faster rails. There's nothing stopping between Sedro-Wooley here.
Okay, that's some bigger picks going both ways right here. Ba getting it done as Kitsune Rush does get invested here from Sedro-Wooley. Nice shots. Bio Execution continues just to reign supreme like they came up with the clothing brand.
Yeah, I mean, again, I kind of highlighted this, but Bio Execution, when they get the rain, when they get the angles as a Sojourn, they know how to hit those shots. They know how to get value with those railguns, so this is good. And they didn't overcommit. They'll have 8-bit players, Blizzard going into this, and still no Sound Barrier in sight.
Yeah, not for either side as of right now. Getting aggressive may not be the move for these Lucios on this map right here, and just providing that healing. Johnny Yakuza learns that one the hard way.
Yeah.
Yet again, his Bio Execution is going to put Chrome to the dome.
And that's a shame because that was last fight territory. You really needed Johnny Yakuza to stay alive to get that, and your Lucio has to kind of play the wall. Your Lucio has to be on the wall, has to be able to swing and displace, but you also got to know when to play it safe and when to defend into the point. So we knew Sedro-Wooley was a great control team, though. This is their comp. This is what they did, multiple times, and this mode particularly, same thing, kind of a repeat of last week when we saw them. It was 8-bit player, stole the stage, these Junkrat plays, these tires looked phenomenal, and we were kind of, always sitting back, we're waiting for Bio Executioner, I'm hyping up this DPS line, but that's because they are that good. They really do complement each other well. In a place where Bio Executioner maybe doesn't get, the space to hit shots, to click heads, they can count on 8-bit player to step up, hit whatever, hit their Junkrat shots, hit their May walls, to really balance that out. And that's what made Sedro-Wooley really find the succession, is that when they realized whoever was going strong, in this case it was Baba, when they found their strong player, they knew how to put the resources into him and lead them to success.
Yeah, and I know I keep beating the same drum here. I'm sorry if you guys don't like the song, but it's speed. Speed kills right here on the other side. You have a Junker Queen, you have a Lucio, especially once you pair the Lucio and the Junker Queen speed additives to the Mei and whatnot. You're just literally allowing this Mei to run around, put up walls wherever you can, and if she bites off more than she can chew, well, she has her ice block and whatnot, right? It is literally like almost like a free investment right there. When you're looking at a team that has no burst capabilities, even to the head, they could kill her. They could one-shot her, right? Just make sure she's full health and sped into that. Honestly, pumping it up as a Lucio is sometimes not even necessary, especially on a map that we just saw, where there's just like so many quick corners, and the lines of sight going to be easily blocked through there, and Mei can just pop right out. And then how many chokeholds were on this map that Mei can utilize? You see Mei, you see Junkrat, you mentioned it all the time for different reasons, right? Mei can pop her around corners and whatnot, especially when she's speed boosted. The Junkrat, especially given that it's circular there in the middle on that Nepal map, can always launch these launch his grenades around from different angles and even from safety as well, especially even from the outside with that little bit of that vertical advantage and whatnot. I think a lot of this just shook out to compositions and whatnot, but as well as individual play. On the one side, to be negative, Selah's Lucio was consistently pushing way too aggressively than they really needed to be, and speed boosting around individual players would have been ideal. On Sedro-Woolley's side, that Bio Execution, right?
Oh, agree with you completely. And I think it does speak a lot to it, because you want your Lucio to be aggressive, you want your Lucio to help in playmaking, but on a control point, that's where you'll see it. Now we're over here on Escort, though. This is a much slower map for Circuit Royale, and this was Selah's pick. They showed us a Sigma in time. They showed us these slower comps, and this is where those can work. So I'm watching now, because of these long hallways, we should be seeing more of these, distance comps. We should see the Ashe out of Sane again that they never really got to play. We should see Bio Execution pick up the Widowmaker, pick up these longer range heroes to really kind of set the distance. And the question kind of becomes, does Sedro-Wooley want to continue to push the tempo when it comes to that? And it looks like the answer is going to be no. The defense, however, is going to continue to try to play it. They'll bring in the Ramacho. They'll bring in a couple of swaps. I'm sorry, Johnny Yakuza is going to stay on the Lucio. You know, again, just keep your death ball, keep your ball, you know, you really need to make sure Johnny stays close to time just to make sure that he can move around. Sane and Ragu are going to be in the back. They should be able to, you know, defend themselves. The Ana, they'll be there with them. So there's, you know, we're in a 3-2 split. That should be pretty well defensible and pretty easy to move. Across from them is going to be a Sigma. And again, I was looking for Bioexecution's Widowmaker. He's very good. If 8-bit player stays on this Mei, I don't hate it. It's a little out of place when you look at the Widowmaker and the damage and what this comp wants to do. But it can work when you consider that Mei's Icicles don't have fall-off damage. It's a decent, you know, second sniper when you're looking at, well, I'm just going to make picks from range and get boosted by Mercy. Yeah, you're going to put out enough damage to one-tap somebody from that.
Yeah, that's a really, really good point. I just think that the lauds, the good things that we were lauding upon the Mei earlier was off the back of the speed boost stuff, and now there's neither of those represented anymore. But hey, Sedro-Wooley seems to be getting it done. This is just, yeah, time and the rest of Selah is just simply backing up consistently. Picks either side, little sniper on sniper action as Ragu takes out their counterpart. Widowmaker on the other side. Puts the hands up right here is time. Nasty purple right there. Velcon really paying this one off.
Huge.
I was a little bit concerned about the Ana and the cover that she would get from her teammates, but it does seem like Ragu is consistently, I mean, you see him right there. He's consistently looking back. It wasn't just to mount and jump back. It was to look and make sure the Velcon was going to be all right and be able to use those arrows to burst down anybody pushing her if that was the case.
Yeah, and that's the case of all this, is you have this double back, you know, this double back line where you can sit and protect it. We're going to commit. Ba is going to commit the Flux into this. They want to close this out immediately. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's one ultimate to make sure you capture point and get 5 minutes on the clock. I don't hate it. I might have taken the reset because that was a very long, drawn-out fight. But I guess when you look at what you're trading that for, I think it's very worth it. You got Valkyrie, you have Amp Matrix, you got Blizzard out of it. You know, you have your pieces that you want to. And looking across the board, you know, only one sound barrier. You have dragons that'll probably maybe zone you out during the Blizzard, but you know those are going to force Selah to use their tools defensively as opposed to offensively. And Sedro-Wooley is an offensive team; they know how to win when they go aggressive.
Yeah, and there's only the Guardian Angel over here for the side of Sedro-Wooley. Now a couple of them coming online. There's the sound barrier. This might have been a mild panic because this is something you'd want to save.
For the
Sigma ultimate, for the aforementioned Blizzard right here. Oh, the Lucio barely gets out. Not going to be enough, though. The consistent damage over time from Baba and more going to prove supreme. Orphans, I'm going to be coming through here, taking out their counterpart, the tank, but that is a tank investment for only 1 kill on the other side. Sedro-Wooley realized that and tries to get out. Velcon has been on point with their anti-grenades as well, man.
Oh, it's so important. Ana has been such a crucial role across the history of Overwatch, and knowing that Velcon has been clearing those anti-nades and hitting those purples is so important when you look at how much healing really comes out of the Mercy and the Baptiste. This is like high sustained comp, and it's important. Worth noting, Bioexecutioner did swap off the Widowmaker, go to Sojourn, so they have Rails already. Got it pretty quick. Rails plus Flux could be huge. That's easy sky pickings if Sedro-Wooley can put the two together to come up with it, especially with there's no sound barrier in the way of it.
And when you throw an Ant Matrix in the back, that's the stuff that Sports Nightmares are made out of. Here is the Ash that we were looking for earlier. Bob is with us, so 6-on-5 for right now. Sane just trying to find a way in edgewise. A couple of shots onto the Mercy first, and the Sojourn after. Baba finds all right here. That's going to be enough, but Baba actually taking a lot of damage right here, but I think it's pretty much just the tank. Yeah, it's just the tank for Selah right now. Ragu has wisely decided to back up until a bit player finds him.
It's really interesting because Ragu continues to be, you know, coming on top of these range duels, and I really would almost love to see Selah wait until Ragu gets those picks. He's been holding these dragons for 2 fights now, and it's just not been a good time.
That's a very good point. Yeah.
I'd really love to see them just kind of wait, you know, give up the space, disengage before that. They'll try to stop. Yeah, there we go.
That should be good. Yes, so all these players pushed in, and Sane just absolutely feasts upon them. Tank down. The Guardian Angel, the Mercy ultimate, excuse me, does get utilized right there. The Valkyrie, I'm mixing up abilities names. More MT going to be able to find one. Sane the only one out, but that's Nash. They'll be back soon. Johnny Yakuza going for the taxi.
Yeah, we'll go in and get the group back together. Yeah, that was a great use. Again, Ragu has looked good. You know, we're lauding Sedro-Wooley here for their aggressive play, but Ragu has looked very, very good. I'm waiting for Selah to just kind of play around that and, you know, disengage from these aggressive takes from Sedro-Wooley. Let Ragu find picks. Let Sane continue to chip damage and build up the bobs. You have 3 ultimates. You should be able to sustain here and burn a little more time off the clock when you're under 2 minutes. This could be pushing towards last fight.
And there's another barrier here from Johnny Yakuza. I'm not 100% sure. You know, we were on board here with time. There's the amplification matrix. That's bad news. Perfectly timed there between Bio Execution and Snake. That's gonna be enough. Overclock for the centuries, my man.
3+1 on that overclock. Man, yeah, I think because you're right, Johnny Yakuza sent it early. I think what happened was there was a signal and a call made that we're gonna go in on this. Let's aggressively barrier and try to get a pick off of it. But all of the tools for sustain, all of those pieces were still there for Sedro-Wooley. It was a little ambitious, and the idea was right, just didn't quite come together. Now you're left with this nano and the annihilation. You're gonna have to commit these to make the stop here.
See how that one goes. A little bit of stun right there. Bio Execution, both Baba finding 1. Defense is in a real bad spot right here. Maybe the nano boost. You have 3 players here. Sane will be back soon. Ragu now switching on over. There we go. That is an angry Ramacha, and he'll sit wherever he desires. Nicely done. That should be a full team kill.
Should have given him the ace. Should have given Time the ace there. That would have been the easy way, but no, that's the right call. You know you had the advantage. Like you said, there was a numbers advantage. That is a deadly combination that will win, and there's nothing across from him. The one thing that Sedro-Wooley's comp does have for it, Immortality Field is the only thing really keeping you, aside from bulk healing, from dying. There's no emergency escape button here like the Lucio sound barrier, so you really have to be very committed if you're Sedro-Wooley. There is a Bob coming up. That is enough to maybe give you a man advantage, but there's, you know, you're going to have a sustain in the Guardian Angel, in the Valkyrie across from it.
Oh, there you go. Catalytic immediately pops this one. Bob is out, and Bob's just shooting against a wall. Futility. Now nicely done, just trying to get around right here, and yeah, that is a quick mercy, utilizing every single second of that ultimate. Here comes the res, and it's blocked. 8-bit player is back with the rest, and kind of like wisely deciding to get away from that Mei. Still trying to fight this one from above. Nicely done. Ragu taken out by their counterpart as another barrier comes in as Ramacha goes to feast. That's a purple though, and that's not good. The side here comes up and down. That's going to be 2, and the Baba Sedro-Wooley squad holds strong.
Again, and it would be so easy to just look and say, oh, well, Johnny Yakuza just played the sound barrier wrong. He didn't, though. He saw that he had numbers advantage, and he made the call to try to go on it. Unfortunately, they just weren't counting on that Sigma Flux to come on time. You've got to track a little bit better here. And time is coming up. You know, you'll have a Blizzard, you have Annihilation. There is a chance in the last 30 seconds you can put your foot down if you get a full 5 for Selah together.
Amplification Matrix now out. That's a little bit far forward, though. Other members of Sedro-Wooley can't get to it, and that is a perfectly timed Blizzard for the side of Ragu. Now Ragu getting on the other side of that Amplification Matrix for just a couple of seconds. Fantastic job. Fantastic job.
Great stop. There's going to be one last chance to touch it. It's going to require the Sojourn. Bio-Execution really doesn't want to go in, though. They're going to have to touch it. You'd rather not, but they're the closest they're going to have to touch to give this. They have to get in touch and get out with rails. They're going to have to find some value with these rails quick.
Here it comes. Here's the overclock trying to get the Ana in the back. Literal actual one. A couple of shots. The Ana's still alive, though. A true feels bad. And the sleep. Bio Execution takes the snooze on the 1v1. There's a win in every way, shape, and form for the Ana. But MT out here. That's a lot. And this is going to be the nice team kill here for Selah.
Yeah, a little bit of tunnel vision there for Bio-Execution. It was the right idea. I want to take out this Ana. That is the majority of the healing that is going to keep this up. But while you were so focused in trying to complete that kill and trying to secure it, thinking you were going to be the hero here, your team just got ran by that Annihilation across from you. And it's such a shame, because if you had just, you know, gotten the touch, gotten out, and let your tank take the front line, you still could have gotten, you know, taken your shots out on it. You still could have probably picked these DPS. That's not to say, you know, that would have been the outcome, but it was a little bit of too much focus and a little too much, I need this, I want to be the hero, I want to make this kill and complete it. So that's still respectable, though. Like, let's not joke here. Getting most of the way is not bad. You're almost there. You just need to adapt here for Selah. You need to find something to stop these longer-range characters. The Bastion's a decent answer here. I don't hate that.
Totally agreed. I feel like Bastion's pretty versatile in his current form with most maps and whatnot. I gotta agree though. Velcon, you know, really making a clip there with the sleep on the end as well. Bio execution, just the simple fact of turning your back towards like 3 different players on the other side when you're going like really deep with no support, no Zarya bubble, no Life Weaver pull, no nothing. Like the best you got is a little bit of love from your Mercy, right? And that would require her, of course, of flying through the thick of an ongoing team fight, right? So I can't say that was like the one defining factor, but it definitely had an effect here, as now we're seeing the squad go out for their offensive attempts. That's Selah. And also at the end of the day, like you said, they got pretty much as far as one gets here. It's still not going to be an easy task, much easier said than done, for Selah to get this one up here. 8-bit player abandoning the Mei for the Junkrat right now. More wonky, lobbed in damage. Snake investing that immortality field rather early, but there's not much in the way of barriers that's going to be able to block this one off. This is Selah just absolutely rolling right now. They have not stopped this payload since it was opened up.
This is just a comp mismatch, unfortunately. The Sigma plays slow, and the high burst damage out of the Bastion and supported by the Mei just leaves Baba just in such isolation. You're almost doing just damage control. This is why, like you said, hasn't stopped. They're going to finally put their foot down, but, I mean, the damage is done almost for the most part. You lose Sane. You lose Sane, but I don't know that you have enough here.
A little bit of back and forth here, but 8-bit player getting absolutely swarmed, so Selah does get this. The writing may be on the wall at this point. An attempted res, not going to happen. And so offense is going to get this. I honestly would not have given up all of that ultimate charge towards the offense.
Yeah, you got to make a run. Yeah, you make a run towards the ledge, and they either kill you immediately, and they end it. They don't tease it, and that's there. But especially because when like you said, that's 4 on board. Nano is a second or 2 away. By the time this fight starts, they'll have Nano. I mean, just don't overcommit, Selah. Like, you have so many strong tools here that can win you multiple fights. You've already won one, chain them together, and you could be cruising through the rest of this. There's nothing across from you to stop this.
Oh, there you go. That's a huge pick on the Velcon first, followed up with the main source of support, and this offensive push is over. Once again, if we're looking for differences in this match, which is a decently evenly handed matchup, I gotta say, right?
Yeah,
you know, similar records coming to the Selah 3-1, Sedro-Wooley 4-1. The investment of ultimate is kind of that's the big difference. Sedro-Wooley is just doing a better job of taking one ultimate and making that thing sing.
I agree with you completely, and we've seen it in previous maps with Selah. Just unfortunately, you know, they can sense the blood in the water. They know they can win it, but they'll overcommit and lay over the top of those. And if you burn, you know, all of your oil at once, you don't have it for these longer fights, especially when Bio Execution pops rails and is looking for blood. Ooh, through the window.
Or when Snake just decides to take whatever picks they really want. Or excuse me, that's Bio Execution.
Bio Execution, yeah.
The vast majority of that damage right here. Ragu out, no Blizzard to be worked with. This is an offense that conversely probably just wants to get on out. Sedro-Wooley though popping the Mercy ultimate through the thick of things, maybe a bit of a panic ult. They're at least going to start their rotation decently, right? Like they have Death Blossom up right now. They'll have the Rivetic Grab
Flux is up,
Thank you. I'm mixing
it's all good
up today, man.
No, it's all good.
Sigma ultimate they'll have up here soon, and they're staring down the barrel of a lot.
Yeah, I want to talk about this Reaper pick because it came in here and it feels out of place in this comp, but it's such great defense for Baba. It's such a great way to stop this aggressive speed comp from really getting onto him and just stopping this, and especially now Flux into this. I would say Flux into a Reaper ult could be huge.
That's big. I mean, every time that Sedro-Wooley takes out the, tank obviously would be ideal, right? But taking out the Ana when Johnny Yakuza has been playing the Lucio exclusively, and you have just such a big health pool, like on time, right, on this main tank here. That's always going to be a great start, you know, to take out their source of healing. Then Sanes after that, like the majority, the lion's share of their damage capabilities. Yeah, that's a one-team fight right there.
Yeah, the second you take out, like you said, most of the healing, all these big health pools and all those damages, suddenly we can't take all this space, we can't rush in, we can't push it. The good thing for Selah here, they didn't overcommit, they only committed Blizzard here, and it's already basically back. Johnny Yakuza almost coming into that Sunbury as well. So there are a lot of options. It's probably going to be a Annihilation to kind of win this fight in the long term. They're going to force him into the barrage, love it.
No, that's the Immortality Field, perfectly timed. Snake right there, Bio-Execution not able to stay alive here. Times ultimate propping off and providing all the value in the world. Selah is going to be rewarded with another couple of minutes.
And beautifully done. Just put him between a rock and a hard place, and that's what you can do with this comp. You force him to either face the Annihilation or just deal with the barrage that's behind him, and either one will take you out. It cost it all three, though, is the kind of unfortunate part to it. It's going to be a last-second contest with the Blizzard.
Yeah.
I mean, the Blizzard should win it out if they even need to commit it, and they don't need to here.
Yeah, that was a poor decision right there. I admire the attempt to try and stall out, take a couple of seconds off, but you have a full five. This could have been a team fight going on basically where this May is at right now, like with a full five. Instead, you have Baba with a lack of resources. Yeah, that is a panic barrier right there. Tries to eat a little bit. Now, full health, but sending out these barriers when they're less than half health is just not going to provide you with
Oh, no, the Blossom from the top.
Here it comes. Nicely done, but the sound barrier just a second too late as well. Again for Velcon right there. That was the ultimate that he was pulling it and waiting it for, excuse me. Unfortunately, just doesn't hit in time. It does take a couple seconds to cast. Second and a half or so.
No, but like we said, this was kind of a mishmash. This is a very extended fight. You almost would have rather have reset both sides and just get a full five into this. You did pull one of the ultimates out of Sedro-Wooley, but that was your only defensive. You're now looking at this Annihilation of Blizzard. You're looking at defensive Blizzards. You don't need that in this situation. You don't want to play that.
And nobody's fallen in this one quite yet. Bears up just in the nick of time there for time. Oh, rounding corner, just getting more and more shots in Amplification Matrix out. Here comes the block, though. Oh, man, that's a projected barrier right in front of the Amplification Matrix. 8-bit is down, and now Sedro-Wooley's ability to get a lot of damage and going to be negated for the time being. A little bit of zoning, nice shots, and then the heady right there on the Johnny Yakuza. Bio-Execution backing up with their team, but Selah is just absolutely rolling right now.
Yeah, that was a big investment to get that. I don't know that there's going to be, there's not even going to be time. They'll pop Annihilation, but there's not time tug, but we are going to see, we're going to see it. The game 3, you'll love to see it in such an important match like this.
Selah, right here, bringing it back from the brink. Just getting that extra 0.01 meters, that's going to be enough. Let's check out this play of the game from time.
Oh, it has to be the ending of map 1, where it's the basically the 5-piece. Yeah, the Nano Annihilation. Of course, and I think that's one of the important matchups that we've been keeping an eye on, right? Is Time versus Baba. Baba absolutely dominant from that Junker Queen. We know from previous weeks that is a comfort pick for them, and something like Circuit Royale, which this was Selah's pick. They knew. I think they almost baited them into the Sigma here. It's okay. Look, like everybody knows you play Sigma here. Let's see if we can bait them off of their comfort pick, and let's see if we can win. In a different fight. And I think that might have been, I can't prove that, but it feels kind of like that's what this was. And either way, it worked out perfectly for them. So getting this map 3, like we talked about, is so important. Not only is this match playing for second place, but the extra map now means that whoever is playing in for third in those wildcard spots, you might maintain that third spot. You might be able to win by map differential and not have to deal with such a longer play-in.
Yeah, that's a really, really good point. Tiebreakers and whatnot still, like, we were trying to get confirm on there, but, the traditional is, of course, overall record and then map count. Given that both of these teams have lost a map, this is kind of like the worst possible win for either of these two teams, right? Like, at the end, especially given they have not dropped a whole lot, like either of these two teams have not dropped a whole lot of maps coming into this last week of the regular season. So, Dan,
yeah, you're right, Tugbo. I mean, this is just one of those cases where, like, both of these teams have been playing so well. There's so many 2-0s, and every single map is going to matter here, especially on a map 3. You also want to get practice on some of these modes. A lot of these times, you're seeing only 1 or 2, and you're seeing Control, you're seeing maybe Escort twice in a row, but you want to get to something like where you'll see a hybrid or you'll see a Flashpoint. Those are still relatively important maps. You have to be a good, well-rounded team, not just a strong force on Control maps.
Yeah, and that the compositions, we've been talking about it so long here on the day, and that's going to matter like just geographically for whatever map does come up next. Standard, standard selections here. So the first map decided beforehand by a number of different ways. Second map is going to be decided by the loser. Winner picks side. That's done with. Now the loser, Sedro-Wooley, will pick the map, and Selah will pick the side and whatnot. Sometimes, in my opinion, the side pick is more even important
Yes.
than the map pick. Would you agree?
Oh, 1,000%. Sometimes there are teams that want to know where do I need to put my foot, where do I need to plant my flag to win, and sometimes playing towards an offense or a defense, whatever your strength is, works out in your favor. So sometimes knowing, having that advantage of knowing where do I need to get to, or can we make an early stop to make our back half, our attacking half easier, is something that can give you a little bit of a sigh of relief in some cases.
Just like a little bit of relief, a little rest for the weary right there, as these players have been slogging all the way on. I believe if I'm reading right there, I think we're gonna be taking a short break here for these two teams to kind of figure out exactly what it is that they did in the first two maps and kind of recreate it if it was good. Not let that have happen in map number 3. Short break, guys. We'll be back with you in just a minute. Hello and welcome back. Short break it was indeed. We keep our promises over here at the WSSEA. FBI Tugboat with my man Sohav Danom. Sohav, we are looking at a tied series, best of 3, but a tied series. Game number 1 going handedly the way of Sedro-Wooley. Got to say the same thing about Selah in game number 2.
Yeah, they looked pretty dominant. It was a tale of two teams and a tale of two different modes. And, well, it's a third mode. Our game 3 is going to be hybrid. So a little bit of both, actually. We're going to have a contest point on King's Row for that A segment, and then we're going to see ourselves on a payload. So, I'd love to sit here and be like, oh, there's an obvious, I don't even know that any team really has a particular advantage, for either. If I had to say anything, maybe Sedro has a little bit of advantage on the control point segment, but Selah has, clearly understands how to run payloads. So, but both of these teams, like we said, vying in. This is important. This is for second place. You don't want to fall down into those wide in areas. That is something to really try to, hunker down and just make sure that they, take a breath. Get your comps back together. If I had to guess Sedro-Wooley, they're probably going back to that Junker Queen. It worked so well, and considering how flat, this King's Row, the Streets of Britain are, I just can't see a world where they don't, run it back with what worked so well on control point. On the other side, I mean, Selah has had quite a bit of tools in their artillery, but I do think that their brawl with that Ramatra was so strong that, just pull it back out. Run it on the defense. I love that. I think that's a great read here. It worked well. You clearly understand how the comp works, and Velcon has been phenomenal on that Ana. All those pieces, all these moving pieces look great together. Just pull in the Johnny Yakuza and, make sure he speeds and stays with the team, and you'd be in a great spot. Looking at the attackers, we saw the Zarya out of Baba, and this is a great response to the high damage Bastion. I'm not sure how it's going to work in the long term. There is, if you are caught out with both bubbles, we see how quick and efficient Baba goes in, pushes too far. If you don't have those bubbles, you can get swarmed and overrun into this comp very quickly. So kind of reining in Baba and making sure he doesn't get too deep, trying to get charged is going to be so important for the Sedro-Wooley attack.
Oh man, everybody over here on Sedro-Wooley taking a solid bit of damage on that Zarya burst. Now a lot more attention on the backside. Now, nice wall out there. 8-bit player continuing to be an absolute nuisance to the tank lineups of Selah. Velcon taken out. I was going to say Velcon has so many options right here as far as where to go, but now Sane kind of left out in the lurch, and Bio-Execution is going to feast on any player does not have the support of their healers.
I mean, this comp looks pretty similar to the Junker Queen comp because it is. Both of these comps really enable Baba to kind of be at the forefront, get aggressive, take damage, while also getting cover and being able to hopefully pull them out, especially when, time gets punished. Look at that 3-piece from Baba there. They are cleaning up these streets immediately, and they are glowing like the sun. This is, again, similar, a nice adaptation to that initial Junker Queen kind of brawl comp we saw. And they'll part choke point.
Yeah, that's really the biggest thing for me here, is that they got through that underpass absolutely free. Absolutely free. Baba is at a 90%, 95% ultimate. The simple fact that a tank is getting their ultimate first in this game tells you that something is a little bit amiss here. Baba now with that one online, and a absolutely supercharged laser. That's a really bad wall there. Ragu actually blocking out a whole lot of damage from Baba, but throughout the thick of things, Johnny Yakuza taken down. Ragu follows suit. Now we're taking a look at a absolutely rolling Sedro-Wooley squad. Still looking for more as Bio-Execution. Velcon, you did it once. There's one. There's the second. It's going to be a trade in Velcon. We're going to call that one a win for the Ana here, Sohav.
Yeah, you need to make that. Ana is such an important position. You need to be able to defend, and you have all the tools to do so. So, I mean, you did lose point 2 pretty efficiently. The swaps will come in. Ragu's going to pick up that. Hanzo was deadly on that. Yeah, just a little bit more raw burst damage seems good here, especially coming up against the Rails and the Blizzard. 4 ultimates, a whole treasure trove for Sedro-Wooley. They can close this out, but it's going to be a sound barrier and a defensive annihilation to push into. If they layer this out, they can win this. They can hold. They can get a hold.
barrier out. Sane looks for something and finds nothing. Johnny Yakuza with a barrier right before there. I believe a player was getting a little bit low, but this is a situation where you really have to hold on to those ultimates, especially for this overclock by execution. Blizzard from 8-bit player before they fell down. 5 minutes to go here still for the offense, man.
Yeah, it's still just a breakneck pace, and 5 bolts on board. Again, the tools are there, the treasure trove is there, but Bioexecutioner falling early. Again, Ragu on this Hanzo just continues to impress. I mean, it's one-tap potential, but you still need to hit those shots. That buys them so much time off the clock just from that single pick.
Yeah, I mean, Ragu just switched to the Hanzo, what, 60 seconds ago? Maybe not even that. Already up to 97 as of right now. You mix that with a Ramatra ultimate and leave everybody, like, kind of paying attention to the screaming tank. Well, might not be a bad thing. Here comes the nano boost as well. Time is well equipped right here, but forced to back up without appropriate support right there. And now it's just a wasted couple of ultimates here. Ragu still has that. Johnny Yakuza fallen to Bioexecution. Song sung 1,000 times over. Here's the dragons, but Ragu is in Narnia. That's where they sent it from. A couple of kicks, though, so Ragu trying to get away, but gonna fall for their efforts right there. Baba just turning their attention skywards for a couple of seconds. I gotta say, Sane has really not had the same effect that we were going to be anticipating coming into this for a multitude of different reasons.
I agree, but I would argue this, Tugboat. He's having an effect that is still doing its work. The simple threat of the Bastion wheels is a huge thing that you have to pay attention to. If you are not watching, you know, if you're not bubbling correctly, if you're Baba, if you are not walling correctly, there is just enough burst damage to put you down, and that's freeing up Ragu to take these off angles and really punish and slow up the Sedro-Wooley squad. That's already 2 minutes off the clock. They still are holding on to this Graviton Surge, so I mean, it's theirs to take as long as they find someone inside this Graviton Surge. They shouldn't need to commit Blizzard, but they'll have it.
Yeah, Selah's doing a great job right there of realizing that this grab is online. There's a lot of damage out, but not going to be enough once the wall comes down and shields all from all kinds of damage. Snake, excuse me, with the speed in right here. Snake falls even through the sound barrier, and that's a Blizzard on the end to take a couple of more. Ragu still paying attention right here and has those dragons up in just a couple of seconds. Bioexecution trying to push players off of this, but once a player falls, yeah, like this is a fantastic defensive stop so far. So
that was a huge stop. They burned through 2 so important ultimates in Graviton Surge and Blizzard. They survived both thanks to Johnny Yakuza's sound barrier. But not just that, the sustain of Velcon was so important there. And like you said, there's so much space control across from them. Dragons, Annihilation, Nano combo is so huge. They can hold this and win. They just need to not, you know, they just need to divide and conquer with all these spatial ults.
Here it is, Ragu, Johnny Yakuza, but here comes the nano boost again, and it is time to shine right here. Pushes him off, takes 1 point, but that's the situation that Selah wanted to purchase. Let's switch it on over, some punches in, and these Lucios just cannot stay alive. They continue to squish the frog, man.
Yeah, I mean, look, the frog gets too deep. You're trying to babysit Baba and make sure Baba can complete those kills and build a charge, but someone's got to pay for the crime of going a little too deep and letting your team get split by that annihilation. So again, it'll be one last shot here, 1:45. The sound barrier is up for Sedro-Wooley. They should be able to win with that to sustain this Graviton Surge, especially with 8-bit players just lobbing in those shots.
It seems like Sedro-Wooley is winning like the cross format wins, like Velcon, you know, the supports taking out DPSs, the tanks taking out supports and other stuff like this. But Sedro-Wooley's offensive players, 8-bit player and Bioexecution, just absolutely feasting on Selah right now, and that is why they got in this King's Row all the way. 120 their reward.
It's, you know, when you look at where, you know, 120 seems kind of like a lot, but when you look at the rest of their clock, you know, the first couple points were all one fight, right? Like, they took that relatively quickly, and that is, I think that's pretty common for Sedro-Wooley. A lot of their fights were like, let's win one fight, let's take a bunch of space and make sure we can get as much space as we can, and that kind of playmaking, that kind of foresight really does go. That's what gets you fighting for second place like this. And Selah, like you said, you know, there's moments of brilliance. It's just unfortunately kind of lost to these Sedro-Wooley, like you said, just finding, you know, making sure that they find these picks. Velk, you know, constantly the first blood for the side of Selah, and you have to protect that a little bit further. And it's just kind of, you know, the unfits to all of it. Side swaps, And comp swaps as well, Tugboat. Sedro-Wooley looking like they're going to bring a similar style to what they attacked on. And yeah, okay, like the Ramatra gives you a lot more sustain. There's a lot more ability to stay. Lifeweaver is an interesting pickup. You're giving up speed here for the ability to bail out Baba, and I don't hate that because we've seen how aggressive Baba gets. And you know, look, if he's just going to keep running when he's fast, there's no better way than to pull an actual leash on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you want to make sure he lives. You want to make sure he stays in your line.
I was thinking
leash
like,
on him, yeah,
I was thinking like, you know, Baba, you know, needs the speed and stuff like that, but hey, you're 100% right. Maybe just a easier way out. You know, that 3/4 of a second of invulnerability, right? The old projectiles coming in. Obviously, it doesn't cleanse, right, like Suzu or anything else like this, but it's still pretty good. Time and slept right there. He's really, really glad that Selah does not have a Mei to have put that wall out that into a thermic blaster damage. I'm remembering some of the names, right?
Yeah, no, you got it right. You're
honestly, I'm just bad at remembering like new heroes' like abilities, not their ultimates, but their abilities.
No, some of these basic things are so important, but it's the basics that are the building blocks, and like these teams kind of realize, you know, you have to be able to find value with that in the thermic blaster. You have to be able to find, you know, with that. With the rifle, you have to be able to click that. You have to be able to click heads with sometimes as simple as put arrow in head, like Ragu does.
Yeah, Ragu just simply does this. This is an absolute slobber knocker onto point. Time trying to get back a little bit. Now puts the block up. A little bit of time for the supports to get them back up. Ragu looking for a head and a red marker right here, but with nobody with ultimate, this is just kind of a standstill as of right now until Time finally pulls this. Just crazy with the punches for a couple of seconds, but the support, again, is there. Especially with Sedro-Wooley with 2 main support abilities right here. This is so close. 8-bit player gets out, though. That's a lot on the back, and Time's going to find one for their efforts here. Ragu, nicely done. Time, the only one that fell throughout all of this for the side of Selah. I do believe Sedro-Wooley's defense has shaken.
Yeah, it was, again, remember when I said I want to see them play to Ragu's strengths? You know, Hanzo is such an important hero in that he still has that one-tap ability to come together, you know, and really kind of just find that random pick value. It feels kind of cheesy, but if you can hit the head, and if you can make that shot, you can do that, and that's what rewarded Sidra is, enabling and waiting for Ragu to hit that shot, give themselves a player advantage. Once you have that player advantage, these fights become easier. It's a tougher fight now ahead, though, because you have Annihilation, Tire, and Nano across from you. Your own tools, if you're Selah, are going to get used against you here this next fight in that Nano Annihilation, and you have to survive on Johnny Yakuza's sound barrier just to maybe break through.
Oh, here it comes. Baba looking to feast, but it seems like every time
so
that Baba or Sedro-Wooley is somebody over here, like, it seems like every time they pull an ultimate, yes, Baba is getting incredibly deep. Time's not able to live through that absolute onslaught of damage, but whenever there's a tension that Selah switches away from bio-execution, it just seems like every single time they're able to get an angle and they're able to find an early pick.
That's a lot of it, like you said. But, I mean, again, that's the other threat here, right? Is if Bio-Execution's left alone, he continues. We've seen him hit 3-4 with the rails. There's no window this time, but it's still very deadly with that rifle. So, you know, seeing the other kind of rotation, the one you swap in between, now you have both your DPS ultimates up, so you should be able to find at least 1 or 2 picks to give you a fight advantage here. There's just a Bob to kind of even that out. So your initial pick has to be a support. Or Ragu. That's also taking out your main damage. That's huge.
Not too shabby. Not too shabby. Tire invested 1 for 1 right there. This Bob is out. Nice save there. Bio-Execution almost biting off a little bit more than they can chew. They're at 68, but nobody's paying attention to him. And why would Time when they were able to take out their counterpart? Tank down here for Sedro-Wooley. The defense. I mean, Selah gave up these first 2 points in like way faster, like 5 minutes, but it just seems like it's more like consistent. Selah just hasn't really stopped on offense.
Well, I think the consistency comes from the way Selah has been playing, they're waiting until they get the full 5. They're making sure they're using their abilities in tandem but not overlapping them now. Those pieces that kind of looked like a struggle in the beginning aren't really there. And now that they're opening up Ragu for shots, everything's coming together, and now they'll have, they'll have dragons, they'll have annihilation, all this space control, and a tree in the way. Like, it's enough healing, but not for long. So they should be able to win if they can use these ults to divide and conquer here.
Decent purple, time forced to come back for just a couple of seconds, but no real advantage in this one until Ragu finds another one. That was really close to a second. Bio execution taken down, looking for a squishy right there as well. The burst shots come out, but Sedro-Wooley's team is lost this one. Wow. Another headshot, and then Baba goes wild right there, looking for everything, finds 3. Wow, Sedro-Wooley just stands strong off the back of Baba.
I mean, it was clear that they were counting on Baba to do a lot of the damage in their compositions and really be a savior, and he was in that moment. They won that with the Lifeweaver down with no support ultimates. They only have tree and rails. They'll get a tire as well. It's a lot of burst damage, and that's going to be key. If they can find the burst damage to survive something like the sound barrier and get this annihilation to 0, they can win this out. But they have, it's also they have 2 minutes to spare. Just need to put their foot down here and get a burst.
Yeah, just some kind of really burst. Then there you go, 8-bit falling right here. That's going to be a fantastic start for Selah. Ramatra on Ramatra, but Time's got their ultimate. Couple more punches left, just literally like ripping screen left and right to try and find this one. Baba finds Sane in the back, but 8-bit player down, so both teams fighting with only a single DPS as of right now until Time does figure out this one against their counterpart. Ramatra on Ramatra, Time comes out on top. 55% away from their ultimate is Baba, as Ragu just simply continues to find heads left and right. Sedro-Wooley, 8-bit player, finds 2 right there, and that's a big one. Johnny Yakuza, here is the ball back. Baba switching on over for the stop, and Selah probably just, okay, never mind. I was going to say probably wants to get out of this one, but Morphin Time finding 2. That's Velcon down, and Morphin Time Dunzo. Yeah, maybe fighting that pick and then getting out would have been better because they'd be looking at about 15 extra seconds. Baba decides better of the ball. Gonna go back and go with something a little bit more sensible.
It makes sense here. You don't lose too much. They're going to go to the Zarya to try to burst down these damage and give a little bit more protection. It does bring us to 1 fight, and looking at the ults, looking at what's left. Oh my gosh, Ragu just finds one. I hope all 5 are together because that is an incredible go button. That's all the healing down.
Yeah, like this is only a Lucy on the other side and Catalytic falling with ultimate as well, but they are back. They'll be able to swift step on in here. 8-bit player Dunzo as well, though. There comes the Kitsune rush. Baba finds a lot. Sane's Bob finds 1 as well, as this is just an absolute scrum on the point. 2 big kills here. Baba is so low and actually taken out. I believe with the melee right there, Velcon finds it. There's the Dragon Strike to kind of cover this one. That's still a contest, though. These are seconds off a clock. This is the time that you need to contest these out. This one isn't done yet. Baba should be back here on ball in just a couple of seconds. Ragu finds another one, but here it goes. That's a lot of damage. Baba is there, and that's a bunch of overhealing, as this is Ragu trying to find the main support of the other side. 8-bit player finds 1. Very easy to find the Junkrat against a Tracer. Current compositions. Is that a boop off? Did I just miss a boop off right here?
Might have been.
That was a step away. 8-bit player Catalytic taken down. Sedro-Wooley falling slowly. They still have Bob out here. They still have Bio Execution onto this Tracer. This last couple seconds in overtime territory, that's a huge step now. Selah can only tie this game. Or at best, I should say, right? Wait, no, they can still take it. I'm sorry, I got my rules mixed up. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that, guys. I got excited.
Right. Everything is on the line. Everything is on board. You're right. Everything's on board, though. I mean, look. There's a lot to consider. It could be a tie. We could see
in the season. That would be insane. It's not impossible, but it's possible. I mean, it's not impossible, but it could happen here, considering the size.
It is possible because both teams could come out and fail to open up even a single point on offense, right? But that is incredibly unlikely. Especially 80 seconds here in the time bank for Sedro-Wooley. Very unlikely, I'd say.
make the stop on the capture point segment. And a minute 20 on the clock, you know, is not much more than a fight or two. If your first fight is really quick, you should be okay, and you should be able to get a second one in. But Sela's going to do the rest to make sure they can't do that. And a lot of this, their success is going to come down to how well do they play as a unit, and how well do they enable someone like Sane or Ragu to really find the burst damage value that you're looking for. You have to kind of almost play back and play into these safe hallways. That's playing to the cover is going to be your safest strength here, especially when you look at Baba, who wants to go in and feed that charge off of you. If you feed this Zarya, you are going to, unfortunately, just punish yourself. So safe decisions and burst damage will mean Selah can hold this out.
There you go. So longer range healing in the form of catalytics kits, Kiriko, excuse me, and then a speed boosted Mei and Zarya. This is a fantastic composition to just, again, take a single point. That's 20 seconds already wasted out right now. Baba falls as Sane finds this one. This is a bad start for an offensive push that Sedro-Wooley, I'm not going to say they have in the bag, but a single point is relatively easy.
It's not even a single, I say it's 33.
Single tick, yeah. No, you're right.
Respect
yeah,
the single,
right,
you know,
right.
take a, yeah, but like they have, all they have to do, you know, they get one more shot at this, 30 seconds on the clock, no ults, we're still in the neutral here. The first ultimate is going to be the most impactful. Whoever can build it and commit it first, is going to make the difference here.
Block comes up. Comes out of that form. Sane falls, though. That's huge. Snake done so as well. So Catalytic and Snake both out of this one. This is going to be Sedro-Wooley fighting without any sort of supports, but Catalytic should be back. Baba cannot keep this one alive. Ragu still looking for something, and Velcon doing exactly what they need to. Ragu super low, looking for another shot against Catalytic and finds it. The only last support alive here for Snake. Tries to get on top, still contesting, but that's not going to be enough. Yeah, Annihilation's up. This one is over. Time did exactly what they needed to draw this one out.
Wow. Time was the final nail in the coffin there, but this was the Ragu show. Let's be real. This was the sauce. Ragu was just the whole show here. That sharpshooter aim from this Hanzo was the difference maker, and it's moments like this, those slight flanks, just going uncontested, not really being able to track. You know, there's so much to pay attention to in Overwatch, but one of the most important things you have to do is track where everybody is at all times. You have to make sure no one's on a flank, you know, getting an angle like that, getting free damage or getting free headshots. And that was a lot of it, was just Ragu just taking an off angle and getting line of sight to your supports. You got to make sure your awareness is up to. And it's hard when you get into game 3 and 4. I'm not going to say that like that's, I'm saying it like it's the easiest thing, but once you get into game 3 and 4, those are the things that start to fall first.
Yeah, the overtime in every way, shape, and form right now, guys. One of the first tie definitely for WSSEA. One of the first, I think, like 3 ties that I've even casted of Overwatch 2 so far. Obviously happened all the time when we had 2 CP within rotations in Overwatch 1 and whatnot. But incredibly excited for this next one here. Incredibly excited for this next one. We'll be getting maps and more information to you guys in just a couple of seconds. But keys to victory here for the side of Sedro. I think that that's pretty simple. You got to shut down this Hanzo player, man. Sane was just Ragu was just absolutely going crazy. Absolutely going crazy. Fighting heads literally everywhere like he's taking pictures. Yeah,
I mean, he was just taking pictures. He was taking pictures of his play of the game the whole way through. Just headshot, you know, early picks onto the headshot is just so important. Like you said, shutting out Ragu, denying him the space, denying him the line of sights is going to be the most important thing for Sedro-Wooley to find that success, while also making sure you enable Bioengineer, because Bioengineer had a pretty quiet game, all things considered. And that's not to say they played bad. That's to say that they just knew they couldn't allow him to, you know, sit back, have these angles and be able to aim, you know, down these hallways and find those heads. That's kind of the advantage of the Hanzo versus the Sojourn. You can take those higher angles. You can play from different weird spots that you might not expect. But, I mean, Selah, their key to success is making sure that doesn't happen. They need to keep enabling the space for Ragu, keep providing the distractions, keep working up those ult rotations, you know, cycle in that nano annihilation like you have been. Keep that up because it has worked in your favor and it has gotten you here to this map 4. And again, when every single map matters, nothing matters more than a draw going into a map 4.
That's very, very true. Sane as well been doing a fantastic performances on this was Bastion most recently. We're looking at Flashpoint. Yeah, Flashpoint next year. So the drop map is Flashpoint and the last loser pick. So the last loser being Sedro-Wooley. Sedro-Wooley will pick, but it's Flashpoint, so sides don't really matter as much on this one, given that the point is in the middle, and both teams stay on the same spawns, but the point rotation after that is random. Just trying to make this as even-handed as possible for everybody, so everybody does get their picks when they do, lose a particular map or whatever else like that. Draw rules obviously a little bit weird, guys.
Yeah, no, and that was a beautiful breakdown so far because it's one of the newer modes. So if you're coming in, if you're still, if this is your son or daughter's first time playing Overwatch, you might need a little bit of a helping doing that. And that's, similar to our first map, Control Point, it's all about maintaining that one spot while it's open. And this is something that really did work in Sedro-Wooley's favor. We saw how dominant they looked on Control. This feels like we could be going to a bread and butter moment where they can bring back this double speed Junker Queen and Lucio comp that works so well for them. So if you're Selah, I have to assume it's going to be New Junk City. That makes the most sense.
100%. That's true.
You want to play for Sedro. If you're Selah, you need to make sure again, to kind of just look to Ragu and say, all right, how do we help you break this comp? And that's by making sure everybody can get out of the way when that speed comps moves onto you. You need to make sure everybody just disengages and gets out of the way. If they cannot collapse onto you, it means they can make errors and Ragu can capitalize on them.
So logic would follow that you want some kind of barrier, right? Like block off Ragu stuff or something, maybe Zarya for bubbles and stuff like that. But Junker Queen, I cannot disagree with you. If you take a Junker Queen, you take a Lucio, you take an Ana, so you have like two different forms of speed and anti-healing. You throw like a Mei and a Reaper or something like this. This is just a rolling death composition that may not have like super long range capabilities. Obviously, the Ana can get stuff done right there, as you mentioned. Mei's icicle damage fall off no longer a thing, but you don't need that for Control. This is essentially just three like mini controls wrapped up on into one. Go with that, something like that. If you're Sedro-Wooley, other side, there is no reason to switch off from what Ragu was doing on the Hanzo. A lot of this at this point, in my opinion, is about supporting that. That means Zarya, and that means the Grab Dragon combination.
I agree. Grab Dragon is a tried and true point, and considering how Ragu has been using those dragons to not necessarily, just divide up space, but has used them to find value and to try to catch them off guard, much like most of his shots. Yeah, I don't hate that. When you look at how do you stop this kind of speed death ball, you have two options: either disengage fully, take quick moving characters that can get out of the way, or you have to kind of punish them for coming into you, and that may mean, like you said, finding a way to get into that, making sure Ragu is in position, playing someone for bait on your team and letting Ragu capitalize on that. But it also means maybe things like a Junkrat. Maybe it means like a Reaper, like you said, a Reaper Mei of your own. If you can make an isolation with a Mei wall, it doesn't matter if Junker Queen shouts and she's moving fast if she can't move anywhere.
Yes. Exactly, especially in the classic form, you get the ice wall, so it's behind them, and then it's like kind of slanted against the wall like this, so that as they're backing up, they're constantly going towards the wall and farther away from where they need to be. We're gonna take a 5-minute break right here. There's a tiebreaker, a draw right here, right? We got to let these teams kind of figure out exactly what that is that they want to do, coming down to the one and done. No capabilities within Flashpoint, of course. So we're gonna be taking a short break. Back with you guys in just a minute. Hey, hello, and welcome back. Little recap action for you guys. The control went pretty handily the way of Sedro-Wooley. Following it up, the fantastic performance. That was Selah 3-2 over there on the Circuit Royale. And then Kings Row, who'd have guessed it, goes to a draw. We're going to a map for the first time, at least for us broadcasting, in this season of the WSSEA.
Yeah, this is our first. I mean, we really didn't have many map 3s even, but to get a map 4, wow. At the end of the season like this, when it's crunch time, when it's so important, yeah, you love to see it. Bringing us to Flashpoint and New Junk City. You know, prior to break, we were talking about, you know, the strengths of these comps and the strengths of these teams that they're bringing. With Sedro-Wooley's, you know, double speed comp, brawl comp, really just looking strong and being also very viable on a place like New Junk City. But, I mean, if Selah's got this sharpshooter, it's really going to come down to, can they manage to get on this Hanzo and rush him and keep him guessing to, you know, just deny him the ability to click those heads. So looking at that as we get the pause coming in, yeah, I mean, it's going to be, yeah, look, tensions are high. Everything is on the line here when you're playing for second place.
Just for some dramatic pause, guys. We'll take second pause for you guys, just because we can't give you everything that you want all at the same time, right? We gotta draw it out a little bit here.
Yeah.
40 seconds till this one opens on up. We got a little bit of a preview, but I don't think that's gonna be, you know, ball and mercy. Maybe for first point. I don't see that continuing much farther past that.
No, I mean, this is still, again, when you look at these control point segments, you really want to think about getting there first, because getting there first will increase your ability to win and increases the likelihood that you do win. So Lucios are going to be mandatory. Symmetras might even be a similar vein, but it looks like we will see very similar comps, with the exception of we'll see the Reaper versus the Sojourn of Bio-Executioner, and Sane picking up the Reaper there. Ragu picking up the May. That's a new one. We saw Ragu, I believe, picking up different points, and Sane, I believe, pick up the May prior. So watching for those. And again, we have the Ramatra versus the Junker Queen. Baba, that is a comfort pick for Baba, and that is a huge comeuppance for them. So these tank variations in these brawl comps are going to make a difference. It's a lot more speed versus a lot more sustain.
Yeah, you can say that one again. The supports matching Maze here on both sides, but that's pretty much it when you talk about similarities between these two compositions. Macho bite off more than they can chew if they're really trying to go toe-to-toe with a good Baba Junker Queen as well. Here comes the slash. That's the first. A whole boatload of overhealing for this one. And now this is just going to be a kind of sticky chokehold situation. 8-bit player falls first, and this is just going to be a slow roll to sustain beating speed, at least for right now.
And a lot of it, again, as we addressed on the control point segment, is it's going to come down to who can use these bays to create isolations. And if anybody's going to have those kinds of moments while still also getting the value from headshots, it's going to be Ragu, who's already 90 to a Blizzard. This point has been captured by Sedro-Wooley, but it looking like it's going to go the way of Selah.
Yeah, Ragu now has the second one. Not a time to pull Blizzard. Yeah, so this is just a cleanup type situation. Sedro-Wooley finds the first 50% or so on this one. Now it's Selah reigning supreme for right now. Any changes you think are necessary over here for Sedro-Wooley?
I'm not sold on Bio. Like, I know this is like the Sojourn is a very clear comfort pick for Bio-Execution. I like catalytic flipping over to the Baptiste, though. That helps you balance out the sustain when you have Immortality Field. That will save your lives. That will give you a little bit more time to heal up. And that's probably your best shot if you don't want to get rid of the Sojourn, if you're trusting Bio-Execution to hit these shots. This Rampage is going to be so important, but the Cleanse is going to be even more important here.
Yeah, so Velcon comes on top of that one, deals with any anti-healing that is necessary. Ragu finds 2. And this team fight is over. If you're Sedro-Wooley, you turn your attention to the future and to the next flashpoint.
Yeah, there's probably not
70%,
a chance you're going
no way.
Yeah, you're not. There's no real point to come back to it, especially when you have no ults. You'll have rails and you'll have a sound barrier. That's not enough to make a point here, and you can see it. Yeah, the call has been made. We're just going to start looking for the next point. Let's start moving away, and that's the right call, especially given that Selah has, Annihilation's up. You have sound barrier to defensive. They're going to try to make the touch in the last second. Okay.
Immortality Field invested. There's the sound barrier for the side of Selah. There's a couple of more ultimates, and they still have the Death Blossom as well. This was a bad decision, and Sedro-Wooley is feeling it, all of it, right now.
You know what? I'm going to actually say this was a solid choice, because you know what? Selah fell into their old traits here. They committed 3 ultimates into that. And I do think that when you look at what's ahead here, you have a Death Blossom. There's no defensive. There's no sound barrier. Blizzard's so far away. Versus your own sound barrier to sustain in the next fight, plus Immortality Field. Yeah, you might not get to point first, but the longer this fight goes on for Sedro-Wooley, they should be able to take this out on top, especially when you have something high value like Blizzard, that as long as you can catch and complete a kill, you should be okay.
Yeah, Snake just really needs to watch out for this Reaper on some kind of flanking maneuver, wait for this Death Blossom to flower. Catalytic doing a great job of really getting this segmented healing out. There's the Reaper they were looking for. There's the Blizzard. There's the Death Blossom, though. So 2 in the back, but main tank down. And this Reaper is fighting solo dolo. That's going to be the first team kill bell of our Flashpoint against Team Selah.
And I think, again, importantly, you didn't really commit many ultimates. You committed Blizzard to win that from 8-bit player. For Sedro-Wooley, you still have an Imp Matrix, you still have your Sound Barrier, you still have Rails. I'd love to see Bio-Executioner just kind of throw those in a little bit more. You've been holding them for a while, but, you know, your 3 ultimates, and there's still no Sound Barrier across from you. Johnny Yakuza only built 30 or 40%, so you can pressure out these angles and set up Bio-Execution for better shots.
Okay, yeah, set up Bio-Execution for extra shots. They're going to be happy with that one. This Reaper getting super low and kind of analysis paralysis. You saw that right there. Reaper wasn't really sure if they were going to try and dash left to go with their teammates, dash right to try and take some cover and kind of pop out on these guys. And when you don't make those decisions, they will make you. So Abdynam.
You're absolutely right, Tobo. They will make you, and this is the case where it's now 80%. You know, Sedro-Wooley should take the point here. We'll go up to 1-1. I don't see a reason for Selah to really make an investment here. It looks like they might try to make it in time. They committed the speed boost. I don't think they'll make it just in the nick of time.
Okay. Yeah, so that's going to be a contest, but with not a whole lot of ultimates to be had. This was just purchased with the Blizzard, though, and Ragu does have that, but with both Lucios now falling, here comes the Rampage. That's going to be a lot onto this Kiriko. Velcon barely gets out. Catalytic falls as Baba does take out. We got a pinstripe kill feed. It's looking rather dapper.
For certain, a great shot by Executioner. But, I mean, it's just time. Time is there, and time again, Selah continues to win out these fights, and a lot of it, you know, we've been quiet on them. I'll still sing their praises. Velcon has been right there every single Rampage as just the consistent counter to Baba's Junker Queen, and those were the adaptations you need to make. Yeah, it feels a little bit weird, and I don't even know if you really wanted to contest this. You kind of would have rather maybe just won the next fight, but if you can steal this in your Selah, you have your Sound Barrier, you have Annihilation, you can maybe steal this point even if you shouldn't have.
Time getting super low right there, barely able to get out. Bio-Execution with ultimate is not going to be fun. There's the shots, there's the second. Then throughout the thick of things, though, 8-bit player gonna fall. Baba the second on the chopping block right there. There's a little bit on top, but Johnny Yakuza drops barrier again.
Okay, I mean, it might have been a little overzealous, but I do think that let's be real here, it did get them the fight. There's not going to be a contest at this point in time. It's 90%. Sedro-Wooley can't physically make it back in time, and you successfully stole this. You're now on point, match point, point. I don't know how to call it. You're on your last point. You can close this out here. Yeah, you go into the next fight a little empty-handed. You only have Ragu's Blizzard, and you have to find it. You have to really get Snake if you're going to succeed and make the first capture. But at this point, you know, you've got a little playroom. You can let them take the first point because you've proven from that last point, you've proven you can go to 99, steal it, and come out ahead.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Well, I guess 99%, right?
Yeah.
8 seconds to go right here. A lot of fighting. This is going to be advantage Sedro-Wooley, though, just based on where this is. There's the Blizzard. Lucio trying to get out. Actually blocks the damage with the pillar. And Insane goes for 4. Sane, more like insane here as that finds everything. That's a team kill bell against the Sedro-Wooley squad. Talk about finding everything with a pair of offensive ultimates, but Velcon with Kiriko ultimate soon. That Kitsune rush is the only thing that Selah's going to see anytime soon.
Yeah, especially when you combine that with the Reaper, whose shotguns, you know, it's so many individual pellets just firing so much more. You cannot afford to get caught out into it, and that was what happened. They caught Sane in a small room with that open in it, and no answer, and they will now make it the changes. Catalytic is going to pick up the Kiriko because they know they need another way to live versus all this burst damage and all these ways to save the team. It's a long sustaining comp, but again, Baba coming up to this Rampage, and Velcon has to be there as they have been. They need to get that cleanse down immediately if they want to hold this and win.
You got to pay attention to this May in the back. Ragu is
just
freezing everybody here, and then there's two. Just absolutely shut down here. 8-bit player taking out their counterpart, switching attention now to the tank. Maybe where this attention should have been for a while, and now that's a huge cleanse there for Catalytic. Johnny Yakuza falls early again with Blizzard. Back and forth we go. This is still anybody's point, but Selah, they take this. This will be over with. We have the Annihilation up. Gotta pull this, but has already used this certain form, though, and that's a bunch of burst damage. Baba finds 2 with 1 knife. Fantastic stuff there, Sohav.
A huge turn back from Sedro-Wooley in the 11th hour, but for Selah, if you're so happy with that. You have Annihilation, you have Blizzard, you have Sound Barrier. All you have to do is get past this Immortality field from Snake, and I mean, there's nothing in your way. Velcon absolutely was the difference maker there. That immediate cleanse onto the Rampage just negated the entire ult and just saved that team. It let them pull it to 99. Yeah, they lost the fight, but they could not be in one fight territory here. They are poised to win this from this longevity of this Sound Barrier and these 2 spatial control ultimates. They just need to make sure they find someone in them.
Putting a toe on the point, pressure there is time. There comes the barrier. Definitely wanted to wait for this one, but that's going to be Annihilation finding 2, Sane finding a 3rd, and Sedro-Wooley going to be dumped out of this one. Last player, that's a team kill Bell, and that is your Selah squad taking this one in 4 maps at a 2-1 scoreline.
Wow. I mean, and considering that Flashpoint was 3-0, when Sedro-Wooley
3-0, yeah.
They looked. I mean, let's double back here. Let's go back in time a minute. Sedro-Wooley looked pretty dominant on control, but Selah absolutely just looked like they fully understood what was going on the second time around. I would have called this in Sedro-Wooley's favor on those initial points, but they showed me that they understand what needed to happen between allowing time to just run the front lines and to be able to play aggressively, and between Velcon just chef's kiss on that character. Absolutely every single time there wasn't a I was actually watching on that last Rampage for the purple because I was like, how quickly are these cleanses coming out? The purple didn't even really make it to screen, Tugboat. The purple, I saw the flash and then it was gone. And that's the level of skill you need to claim that second place and give yourself that playoff spot secured.
Yeah, the cleanse just absolutely clutched right there. Like literally, there's frequently times we could be like, oh, well, there was this big thing and this big thing. That cleanse pretty much decided this one. If not, we'd still be watching this one fight because Sedro-Wooley would have taken that point, like, hands down.
Yeah.
The biggest thing here you have to remember as well is Baba on the Junker Queen, right? She only gets her healing, they're like Vampiric Touch, if for our Magic players, and that Soul Suck and that Lifesteal away as long as those players are purple. Once that cleanse comes in, she's not getting the healing on top of herself, and 300 goes quick, people. 300 goes real quick, especially when you're decent size hitbox like Junker Queen, especially when you're literally screaming, going on the other side, and making yourself a very viable target.
Yeah, this was a phenomenal matchup. I wouldn't even be shocked if we saw this matchup again, playoff time.
In playoffs,
This was
100%.
This is definitely some great tape for both of these teams to look back and say, all right, we understood, we all adapted. Let's look back and see what our team's doing against us and what can we continue to do better, because both of these teams played phenomenally. It's just a shame that both of them can't go on and take that second place. And I mean, the better team just came out on top through those adaptations, through those smart decision and hero choices.
Yeah, especially the way that Selah took control of this game on the Flashpoint when it is so similar to our control. Like, obviously a lot more moving around necessary on Flashpoint and whatnot, but they understood the assignment, played that one perfectly. Absolutely. Also, worthwhile to say, this is not going to be a Sedro-Wooley squad. There's going to be eliminated from playoffs by any means. This is more so just going to be wild card positions for them. Selah also has another challenge ahead of them at 4-1 now. Still got to finish out their regular. They have a rescheduled match that is being played later today. So Sedro-Wooley not completely eliminated from this. Selah also not 100% punch in their ticket to a guaranteed playoff spot. Still got to win that one tonight.
Sure.
We'll keep you guys updated on that. With that, though, I want to give a shout out to Seattle Built PCs, or one of the organizations that make competitions like this possible. That is ultimate performance, one of a kind of aesthetics, and while still retaining that small business value. Absolutely love them, folks. That's Seattle Built PCs. You can check out their socials and their website and whatnot. I'm FBI Tugboat. I'm here with Sohav Danom. Our ads are right there if you enjoyed what you heard. We really appreciate bringing you guys the action on a very back and forth match like this one. Now, Sohav, do we have anything else for the good people before we bid them adieu?
Nope, just good luck. We'll see you in the playoffs.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you next week.